Hello and welcome back everyone. We're here for episode 1 of the MyTeam Career Mode, so something a little bit different. So you can see just setting up the team. So due to popular demand, actually I decided, why not, it'd be a bit of fun to do a MyTeam Career Mode. So you can see setting up Sweeney Z Racing Team, choosing the sponsor. Now, I had a long hard think, but I thought TriStar is going to give us the most money, and then thought, look, I had a long hard think at the engine because I thought, well, do we go a bit more, maybe the Ferrari, maybe the Honda, but then we chose for the Renault instead. Thought it was the best bang for our buck, and then spent a long time choosing a teammate. Thought, do we go for Mick, maybe Jack, but in the end thought of Mick. Had a little bit at Guan Yu Zhou or Jack Aitken, thought the 1.5, but then thought we might need that extra $500,000 somewhere else. Choosing the livery and the basic black, red and white, and then changing the logo to a nice little S to symbolise the Sweeney Z element, and then advancing, choosing the calendar length, which is going to be 22. So we're going to go for the full season, going to go 105 AI to begin with. Maybe we might not need it, setting the assists and everything to everything we want. Short quali and 50% races, so it's not going to be easy at all. Very reminiscent of league races. So now loading into the team headquarters, having a quick interview with Will Buxton, just getting the team set up, and he's going to ask us a few questions about what we need to get going with the team. So with this question, just thought it's been a difficult season to get it up and running, but we wouldn't be here without the team and the two drivers. So what we thought about the teammate, obviously Mick Schumacher, son of Michael, going to bring us a lot of marketing in the future, and is definitely a very potential seeking. So just looking at the answers, but we've seen what they can do on paper, and we can see a lot of potential in Mick. And obviously we don't want to finish bottom of the table, so who do we want to set some realistic goals? Alpha Tower is a bit of a stretch. Alfa Romeo is looking good, so I knew it would be either Haas or Williams we're going to have a bit of a battle with, so we chose Williams because of the heritage of the team, and it'd be nice to have a bit of battle of them. And just wanted to make sure we had a good chassis. I do like a light, nimble car, so just reading the answers, and we're going to go with the chassis balance, because we need the chassis. The chassis is so important. We want a good chassis, so the chassis department is something we're going to focus on quite a lot with this MyTeam. And obviously trying to catch up again, we're going to just read through the answers, and probably I think going to choose the chassis option or the weight efficiency. No, we actually choose a powertrain department, so we're going to try and keep it a little bit balanced as well. Overtaking, and again, I think we need a nimble car to overtake. We want to be able to sell the dummies, start it to the inside, things like that. So just going to go with the chassis option once again. And which department are we going to choose? We haven't really said much about aero yet, so we're going to want to choose the aero, have a nice strong aero package to start the season, especially with Melbourne being the first round of the season. We need a good aero department. But that's the interview over. So thanks to Will for setting it up, and we're going to be wanting to get going for the season very soon. Obviously loading screens, not the nicest of things in the world, but yeah, just while we wait for the loading screen to go through, you can see the car still under wraps, still not fully complete yet. We've still got a while before the season starts and before our car reveal, so we're going to have a look at the activities we can do. We're going to go for a driver training camp, think better of it, and maybe go for some department focusing so we can get the strongest car we can before the season starts, because that is what we want. We want to have a good start to the season, so we're going to go for an aero and chassis focus. Big focus on our aero and chassis, because the power and durability is looking good. Renault can supply us with some upgrades, so we want to focus on what we need to do ourselves, and then I'm going to go with a driver training camp just to make sure that that Mick is doing well before the season. We want to make sure his neck's up to the task. We want to make sure everything's good before the task. You can see we're struggling a little bit. We've selected the wrong slot, but there we go. Finally, going to look at some of the stuff we can do. Maybe make some adjustments to the R&D tree, upgrade some stuff with a little with the R&D points we have. Going through the car reveal, you can see a very, very nice car we've got going on. Red, black and white, nice little streaks down the side of the car, and the TriStar of course giving us the sponsorship money to get us through. But you can see now, coming towards free practice 1, our first free practice looks like it's going to be dry throughout the weekend, so definitely good to get off to a good start. Don't want a wet race. And just a little motivational talk from Jeff to say thank you to the team. So now in FP1, just going to do the track acclimatization. The car feels really good at this stage. I've loaded on a setup that I've made, and it feels really good, really nimble and light. And you can see ending the session 15th and 16th myself and Mick, but FP1 definitely not reminiscent of our pace at the moment. And even then, 15th and 16th, very good. And you can see our qualifying objective there puts us target 17th from the 22.0 so far. Wasn't the best of laps, but still pretty good, and we finished that session P11, so still looking really promising in terms of pace. And now coming into quali, this is going to be our first run of the session. 18-minute quali, of course. DRS wide open as we come towards this back straight. Currently P11 because no one's really set a lap time yet. They're all the way to the left hand side, looking for the black box on the left hand side just before that, and chucking it in 4th gear. Use the exit curb just a little bit, help bite the car around. Drag reduction system open once again. The DRS propelling us on down towards turn 3. Again looking for the black box on the left hand side, braking just after that. 2nd gear, roll it through with the brakes, and then through to turn 4. Really just got to swing it in with 4th gear. Use the exit curb flat through turn 5. Use a bit too much curb on the exit, might have spun the car a little bit there, and then into turn 6 and 7. 26.7 so far to the first sector. Definitely isn't too bad despite the how new the car is and how new it feels. Nicola Latifi first set a lap. Coming towards turn 9, you can see we completely missed that inside curb, just going a bit too deep on the brakes, couldn't carry the right momentum through and couldn't cut too much that we would have liked to. So then through turn 10 and towards turn 11 and 12, got to chuck it in full commitment through turn here, and you can see big snap from us, nearly losing the rear end of the car, just about managing to bite it back to save it. And then towards turn 13, then coming into sector 3, very, very tough circuit, sequence of corners I should say, through into towards turn 14. Then really got to give it a lot of commitment through there. Love that corner, turn 14, and then into 15 and through into 16, the final corner. Get a bit shaky, bit too eager, clip that curb on the inside, big shake, and you can see we invalidate this and the next lap. So not the best of times, but a 21.1 for our first lap in quali is definitely pretty good, it must be said. And now just setting up for our second run, coming across the line. Currently P22 because we haven't set a lap yet. We need to get stuff done, and then we can see what we can do across the line. What's it going to be? As at the moment, P6 with a 20.5, and then straight away to our next lap. Are we going to improve on our final run? No, it doesn't seem like we are. Maybe a little bit, but not the most, unfortunately for us. So it is going to be P7 at the moment, and then P10 at the road. Incredible stuff. And then Mick down in P16 as well. Great Start from us for our first qualifying session. So a top 10 start. We'll have to see if we can convert to points on our debut. We'll take Crofty's talk through of the circuit.
3.3 miles of public roads closed for the weekend, of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari or Red Bull establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Raback over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
It's hard to imagine how a small operation like that could survive in the ruthless world of Formula One, and yet here they are, first ever race looking surprisingly strong. But there are no points for qualifying, let's see how they fare in the Grand Prix proper.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, and Perez, Sainz, Leclerc, Ocon, and Schofield, Vettel, Stroll, Lando Norris, and Kvyat, Gasly, Schumacher, Kevin Magnussen, and Roman Grosjean, Raikkonen, Russell, Giovinazzi, and Nicholas Latifi. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
So now you can see just on the grid, setting up the strategy. Soft to hard should be pretty simple, but the softs really are going to die off because of the nature of Albert Park. But just on the formation lap then and getting ready, just need to acclimatise ourselves, get the car warmed up, get it all ready, and get a good practice start. We don't initially get a very good practice start off the line. A lot of wheel spin initially, so we need to make sure we do that. But here we go then to 5 red lights ahead of our debut. And we're underway, and already it's a pretty good start. Ocon a bit swamped and Leclerc a bit swamped, so we're going to go to the inside. Try not to do that Daniel Ricciardo over that bump there. Try to not lose our front wing. Going to pull to the outside, very close to the rear end of Ocon there. Just trying to Constantino our way through turn 1 and not get anything done. But there's Stroll then giving us a lot of pressure behind, so we're going to have to go to the inside to defend, use our overtake, use our rich mix, and then we're going to completely and utterly send it 3 abreast towards turn 3 and get ourselves ahead of Leclerc and Ocon, and then onto the back of Perez and Sainz. Just make sure we can keep with them and make sure we stay within the DRS, because as soon as it gets to lap 3, the drag reduction system is enabled and we need to stay with them for that. Otherwise, we're just going to fall back behind the likes of Leclerc and Ocon. But already up 2 positions on lap 1. This has been a great start to the debut, and I believe Mick has had a good start behind as well, not been too swamped off the start. So good start for both of our rookies, which is always going to be difficult for a new team. But coming through then turn 9 into turn 10, bit shaky, big sideways moment, then rookie mistake from myself coming off turn 9 there. Very easy to do, get a bit swamped, but we managed to save it just nicely, and 7 tenths back on Perez. Luckily not going to give us too much of a headache from behind from Leclerc. And then through turn 11 and 12 for the first time, very difficult corner, got to do that 29 times, so hopefully we don't bottle it too hard and pick up too many warnings. But then through into turn 13, very again difficult corner, got to be careful on the traction. Through 14, just got to be fully committed, heavy fuel loads, and the tyre degrading all the time. But at this stage in the race, the car feels good, it feels light, it feels good on the tyres, and that is all in part to our chassis department being absolutely incredible. But just needs to stay with Perez and stay with them and make sure we can stay with them. But then jumping on to I believe lap 2, end of lap 2, coming on to lap 3, so DRS now enabled. We've managed to stay with Perez and this little train in front, so we're going to have the DRS, obviously not down towards turn 3 because the detection point is actually after or just before turn 14 actually, so the detection point very early down the straight, and that actually affects all of this down towards turn 3, so it's a very long detection point to the end of the DRS zone. But just need to stay with Perez at this stage in the race. Lap 3 of 29, trying to stay with him through turn 5. Don't want to, stretch the tyres too long because these need to make it to lap 9, and already they're on something like 15 or nearly 20%. But going green to the first sector, so pace still feeling good. We've got Leclerc and Ocon close behind as well, so the field spread is not really there. Everyone very close in the initial stages of the race. But then coming through turn 10 again, need to stay with Perez, make sure we get there. But there's a big puff of smoke in front, and that is Sainz retiring. Yellow flags caused, which completely blinded. Pulled to the right hand side, complete and utter gamble to try and do that. Luckily everyone's going to file their way through because of that, and there is going to be, I believe, a full course yellow because of it. Because of Sainz retiring, there is now a virtual safety car deployed, so having to adhere to that delta. But now VSC ending, we need to get a good launch initially, try and get Perez off guard, but we both get equal starts, so not ideal, not too bad at all. But we've managed to gain a couple of seconds to Leclerc, who must have got caught up behind Sainz off him retiring, and lost a lot of time through turn 11 and 12 because of it. Another big slide coming off of turn 9 though, that is definitely less than ideal, but at this stage the tyres are feeling very poor, but then just going to try and stay on board. Bit of a cut there, pick up our first warning of the race, trying to stay with Perez in front, and Albon a couple of seconds up the road as well because of it. So we are now in P7, a very good position for our debut, picking ourselves up what I believe to be 1, 2, 4, 6 points, and then 8 points for 6th, and then 10 points for 5th, of course. Top 5, top 6 even, a very long shout. I didn't even expect to be top 10 qualifying, but we just managed to hook it up. The car feels great. Big slide, big moment off the final corner though from ourselves. Luckily managing to save it with no damage, but just keeping with Perez. And you can hear Jeff on the radio saying that we've got pit stop window coming up, and at this stage in the race the tyres feel horrible. They really do. I'm losing a lot of grip because of it. So at this stage I'm thinking, well, I might need to come into the pits a bit earlier. We're keeping with Perez. Maybe we go for the proactive strategy. Be proactive, get this hard, get the undercut and have the fresher tyres, and try and see if we can jump in and then holding off from there. But you can see coming towards the end of lap 7 then, and coming through towards turn 15, are we going to come into the pits this lap? No, we're going to stay out this lap and just try and see what the pace is like to Perez. You can see Leclerc's gained a little bit again, bit topsy-turvy. You can see 57% wear on these soft tyres. They are not feeling great at all, and this I believe this is going to be our in lap. We're losing a bit of time to the car behind. You can hear Jeff's on the radio, so the pace is not there. We're luckily managing to sit there, acquiring the information from Jeff. So the pit window open in next lap, so we haven't got too long to wait, but I do want to go for the undercut. I think, well, if we have the fresher tyres, we can stay with Perez and make sure that we can jump him, because we're not going to win this on track. We've been behind him all race, and you can see just confirming with Jeff there to box this lap. So we're going to come in, have the proactive strategy. Is Perez going to come in? He's going to stay out. So we're going to dart in. We're going to be the first of the midfield runners to come into the pits and go for the hard compound tyres. Braking nicely for the pit lane, 37 miles per hour, and then just skipping forward. Nice stop by the boys, 2.9 seconds, not the quickest, not the slowest, but for our first race pit stop, not bad at all. Wheel spinning out the pit lane to warm up the rears a little bit, get them bit in, and because these hards, we need to get them rubbered in and get them turned on quickly. Otherwise Perez could still jump us with his soft tyres. But you can see Latifi up in front. We have come out in a bit of clear air, not the best of clear air. We're still going to pick up a bit of dirty air from the Williams behind. Of course, the dirty air, the turbulent air, going to lose us a bit of downforce, but it's going to help us warm the tyres up a little bit. But the crucial thing is we don't get held up too much from Latifi, and we can get through him quickly. You can see closing up so much under braking through turn 7 alone, and in the slipstream we don't want to go for it. We've probably caught him at the worst stage of the track, because we're going to catch him towards turn 11 and 12, and you can see nearly hitting the back of him through turn 9 and having to adhere to the to off the curb to avoid him, and a big shake again coming off turn 9, not doing our tyres any good. Which makes just to stay with him, make sure we're nice and close through turn 11 and 12, pushing him through, making sure we get the run. And here we go then, drag reduction system overtake enabled. Is he going to defend? He is going to defend. We're going to go to the outside, brake super late, pretty much take the racing line. He's going to completely back out of that one, and probably wise to do so. And now we just need to push and make sure we can get the jump on Perez, who, as you can see on the minimap, has come into the pits. So this is crucial for me now to hook up this last sequence of corners and make sure we come out ahead of him. Let's see then as we cross the line onto lap 10. You can see Leclerc, Grosjean and Perez coming out the pit lane. There's Perez on the right hand side. Are we going to get him? It's going to be very close. It's going to be side by side. Brake super late around the outside through turn 1. Just about going to hang on to that one over Perez. And now we need to get on a bid to chase after George Russell in front, because if we can get George between ourselves and Perez, we can open up a bit of a gap. You can see Perez still putting the pressure on. There's George in front of us, still yet to pit on the medium tyres, running well, to be fair to the Williams guys, and to be fair to George, running very well in this Grand Prix so far. And there is Perez just behind us then through turn 16. We need to get through on George. We're going to activate the drag reduction system. We're going to use the overtake. We're going to get this move done now. He's going to go defensive to the inside. We're going to stay super late, dart to the inside, then all the way back to the left hand side as much as we can. George gives us a nice bit of room, but there we are in front then, and we need to hang on to this position. We do not want to get caught up in any little skirmishes between a Williams, so we're going to defend to the inside. He's going to pull to the outside, so we're going to take the racing line back, and now we've got the gap between myself and Perez to try and push in this race, and Russell keeping it, just being that mobile roadblock between myself and Perez. And you can see by the time Perez gets through, we've opened up a 1.6 second gap, nearly 1.8 as we go through turn 14, bit wide through turn 14 into 15, but 1.8 pretty much is the gap between myself and Perez. And with a long way to go in these races, I want to keep these tyres alive. If Perez and co catches up, we need to have the tyres to be able to defend. So at this stage in the race, just braking a bit softer, trying to prevent the lockups, keep it smooth. Obviously we had a bit of a tyre degradation system in practice to help us with that, so we're going to try and keep the tyres alive a little bit longer and prolong the life of these tyres, because when Perez and Leclerc and co start to catch up, a big slide though as we say that, trying to keep our tyres alive, we get a massive tank slapper. But just an update, you can see they are slowly closing, and Jeff telling us to manage our tyres, so we're going to take that with full effect and just manage the tyres, keep them alive. We've got 13 laps left of this race to go, and just trying to keep the pace with Perez. But as we come on now to this next lap, you can see 1.1 seconds is the gap back to Perez, and then a further 0.3 back to Leclerc. So they are coming and they're bringing Leclerc with them as Perez. So we need to start using a bit more of the tyre now to open up that gap a little bit more, because they are closing very fast, and they've got Leclerc behind, who has proven to be very quick in this Grand Prix towards the start as well. Luckily we didn't get caught up with him too much. So through turn 5, and you can see, just having a quick look behind, we've opened up back up to 1.3, a tenth quicker to the first sector, so using a bit more of the tyre. And then as we come on, you can see we open that gap back up to 1.7 seconds coming on to lap 20. And Jeff giving us the update on the car behind, keeping him there. But as you can see, a couple of laps later, under a second is Perez. So we need to push. I think we need to push. We need to get back out of that DRS range as quick as we can. Push, push, push. Use what little life left in these tyres there is to try and prolong the gap, to try and prolong the pressure, because we can hold him off, but it's just a matter of how long we can hold him off for. We do not want to be holding him off for the last 8 laps of this race, because that would be absolute tragedy, and we'd just get swamped by Leclerc, and then everyone would be queuing up to have a go at us. We want to score decent points. P6 at the moment, very, very good position for ourselves. 2/10 green to the first sector, very nicely done, and we've opened it back up above the 1 second range. So we need to keep it going, and Jeff's just reminding us there, our tyres are still in pretty good nick, so we can push a little bit more, and we've got a lot of energy recovery system to use to propel us forward and help defend us with. We've got a lot of fuel as well. We saved while we were saving fuel, so we've got a lap extra fuel, so we've saved very, very efficiently. And 10.5 to Ricciardo. We're just going to try and match his pace as best we can to keep him behind. And then towards turn 13, you can see Perez, despite our best efforts, has managed to close it back into the DRS range, and he's got Leclerc behind him as well, putting the pressure on. 0.8, just trying to open it up, but we've already passed the detection point. He's now stable within DRS, which just isn't good. He's now stable within, he's got that foothold, he's now pushing to attack us, but we've got the fuel, we've got the ERS, we've got a bit of tyre left to defend with, and you can see, just trying to break the toe. We go 25.5 to that lap, which is very, very good pace. We just can't hold it for very long. Coming on to lap 25 then, he's got a stable foothold, and he is closing very, very quickly as Perez. He's got a lap fresher tyres as well, which is going to really help him in this race. Lap 26, just having a quick look, the tyres 54%, not looking too good, as Bottas leading the way up in front, goes quickest, 124.1, very quick pace. Doom and gloom over the skies of Melbourne, not too good. Luckily the race is over pretty soon, so hopefully we won't see too much rain. Perez so close behind us though, coming towards turn 13, really putting the pressure on us now. We need to push. Leclerc now within DRS range of ourselves, and he's with Perez, so if we get caught up with Perez, Leclerc is definitely looking for that top 6 finish for Ferrari, and this is definitely now hammer time. Punch it down, use what tyre life we've got left. Big shake coming off the final corner though, not going to help us. Having a quick look behind, and Perez is closing, and he is very much closing fast, and this is really now crunch time. We just need to try and open the gap up as much as we can. Perez is not going to back down from a fight. He wants this top 6, he wants to score some good points with the team, but so do we on our debut. For P6 to get those 8 points is going to be massive gains for the team, and a big confidence boost to prove that the team is coming. We're coming fast, similar to Haas back in 2016 actually, with Romain Grosjean scoring a P6 on debut. So we need to make sure we can impress Mick Schumacher as well, outside the top 10, but still driving a great race for his debut, promoting himself from Formula 2. So still needing to get acclimatised to the car, but so are we. 105 AI as well, so it's definitely not a mean feat at all. So just checking with Jeff, rain is inbound, and within 5 minutes. And Perez now really putting the pressure on, so we're looking for rain, hopefully not going to come, but Perez now putting the pressure on, so we're looking behind, he's all over the back of us, he's going to pull to the left hand side. We've got the DRS, he's gotten ahead, but we're going to send it under brakes, get it stopped nicely. He's going to concede the position, so we're now hanging on by a thread, and you can see as that Ocon behind, down in P9, trying to close up to us as well. So we've now got a big train behind us, all queuing up to try and get past. We just need to keep the pace consistent as we now round off onto lap 28, and coming on to 29, the tyre warning is up. we're now losing a lot of tyre grip, and we need to use what little life we've got left. Perez is closing. We go defensive towards turn 1. He's going to go to the outside, and there we go, under brakes. He's just not going to be able to get it, but he's going to have the DRS down towards turn 3. We need to hang on to this as well. This is the final lap of the race. This is what it's all been boiling down to. P6 at the moment. Perez to the outside through turn 3. We're going to hold him off as much as we can. He's going to hang to the outside, just going to squeeze him off and deter him from hanging it around the outside. Leclerc and Ocon are all looking to get through. Big slide from myself coming off of turn 4 and then into turn 5, using every little ounce of tyre we've got left to try and open the gap up. We've got a lot of fuel, we've got a lot of ERS left to use. We just need to hang it off now for our next 10 corners or so, and we will find ourselves taking P6 on debut, which is going to be absolutely incredible if we can do so. Valtteri Bottas wins the Grand Prix. Bottas 2.0. He loves the Australia circuit, taking another win here in Melbourne. Very nicely done for Valtteri Bottas, and a good start to the championship for the Mercedes driver through turn 11, through turn 12. This is his final chance, his final DRS opportunity to do so. He's closing. We're looking behind. We're using rich mix. We're using overtake. We go defensive to the inside. He goes to the outside. We're going to brake late once again. Is he going to go for it around the outside? He looked but couldn't quite convert. So we're just going to about to hang on, and then through turn 14, really just trying to minimize mistakes, minimize the wheel spin, and just hang on so close to the grass, opening up the corner as much as we can to hang on. And then through the final corner, just got to keep it clean. Can we hang on? And across the line, we're going to come to the right hand side. We're going to see the team waving, and across the line it's going to be P6 on debut. Very well done to the team, and they've worked so hard for this. Incredible stuff. And I believe we're also going to take driver of the day. But there's P6 for ourselves. Valtteri Bottas takes the win ahead of Lewis, and Alex Albon with an impressive P3. Max Verstappen 4th, Daniel Ricciardo P5. But we're going to take P5 on debut and just have a quick talk with Claire after our debut race. So we did gain a lot of positions in that race. Yeah, the car was nimble and light. It was a breeze to get through, and we just managed to get through, and it was amazing. Well, I mean, it's only the first round, so not too much. It's just about a great team and a great car, and it was a good race for all of us to have a good run. Cleanest race. Not really sure what happened. We don't want to be the person to back down. We're all racing drivers, so yeah. Not too sure what happened, to be honest. We didn't scrape the wall too many times. I mean, there wasn't too much, and we had a good package, so it wasn't too bad. But after an impressive debut, guys, I mean, thank you so much for watching. This has been part 1 of the MyTeam Career Mode, and that is it from me. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you want this series to continue, do make sure to leave a like and comment down below what else you would like to see on the channel. This has been part 1, an impressive debut from ourselves, and we'll have to see what the future holds. And to Bahrain, goodbye.